But let's keep it connected and let's keep things rolling to our next post on MediaMonarchy.com. This going back to last Saturday, August 14th, 2010, Obama defends right to build a ground zero mosque. This coming from the Big Brother Corporation, the BBC. U.S. President Barack Barry Soetoro Obama has staunchly defended controversial plans to build a mosque near Ground Zero in New York. Opponents have protested against the construction of an Islamic cultural center and mosque several hundred feet away from the site of the Twin Towers. Obama acknowledged sensitivities around the 9/11 site, but said Muslims must have the same right to practice their religion as anyone else. Since a New York developer announced plans to build a 13-story Islamic community center and mosque about 2 blocks from the former World Trade Center site, prominent Republican politicians and a host of conservative pundits have attacked the project. Some relatives of people killed in the terror attacks on the World Trade Center in 2001 are also opposed to the plan.
Recently, attention's been focused on the construction of mosques in certain communities, particularly New York. Now, we must all recognize and respect the sensitivities surrounding the development of Lower Manhattan. The 9/11 attacks were a deeply traumatic event for our country. And the pain and the experience of suffering by those who lost loved ones is just unimaginable. So I understand the emotions that this issue engenders, and Ground Zero is indeed hallowed ground. But let me be clear. As a citizen and as president, I believe that Muslims have the right to practice their religion as everyone else in this country. And that includes the right to build a place of worship and a community center on private property in Lower Manhattan in accordance with local laws and ordinances. This is America, and our commitment to religious freedom must be unshakable. The principle that people of all faiths are welcome in this country and that they will not be treated differently by their government is essential to who we are. The writ of the founders must endure.
This is, of course, a lot of divide and conquer, as we've already seen and already discussed. It happens on a number of levels. Left versus right, black versus white, Christian versus Muslim, Coke versus Pepsi. You get the idea. You know what really puts this into perspective? And it was just a random link I saw a friend have up on Fbook. It comes from DarylLang.com, but the website is called History Eraser Button. And let's talk about, and I implore you to go to the site because you got to see it, a few photos of the hallowed ground that we're discussing here. Some photos of things that are the same distance from the World Trade Center site as this proposed Ground Zero mosque. So on this hallowed ground, we've got things that are as American as apple pie and baseball, like the New York Dolls Gentlemen's Club, off-track betting, McDonald's, Express Barbecue, Vitamin Shop, Lily O'Brien's Bar and Restaurant, Burger King, Broadway Cafe, Dunkin' Donuts, people selling knockoff Milton Glaser I Heart New York t-shirts. Hallowed ground, my friends. I can't help but think of Bill Hicks in talking about women priests when we talk about this, but I'm not going to get into that. But this is the game being played, and I've seen tons of articles swirling around this as well saying more and more people believe Obama is a Muslim. But let's get some related 9/11 updates and obamessiah updates. And again, on the show, we try and lay things out to where it makes sense and to where things flow in order. And I think I do it pretty well. But again, it's all laid out for you on the sites. All the links are there. In the show notes, you will get a full list of every headline and article title that we go over. They're done in order, where the clips are, where they came from. Because I want anybody else to know where this information comes from as much as I want to know. So we're swirling around obamessiah and Ground Zero, and the most recent episode from Clyde Lewis of groundzeromedia.org is called Eschaton, End Times. And it gets into the World Trade Center sites and Barack Hussein Obama, and how the World Trade Center sites were already replete with Islamic symbols. Check out Jake Kotze's work into synchromysticism, the Ben stone, the Kaaba stone, the monoliths, the pillars. It's all there. Oh yeah, forgot to tell you, Lady Gaga was in town last night. I tried to see if anybody went to the show in town. I haven't. No takers, no bites. But of course, giving them links to vigilantcitizen.com, who gets into the Masonic occult symbolism of Lady Gaga and her ilk, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. Secret terror tapes of 9/11 plotter Ramzi bin al-Shibh found under a CIA desk. That comes from the New York Daily News, but let's break it down from allgov.com. When CIA destroyed interrogation tapes, they missed one set. At least one piece of history survived the CIA's attempt to erase evidence of its secret prison program during the Bush administration, when suspected terrorists were confined throughout the world at hidden locations, black sites, interrogated, and in some cases tortured. 2 videotapes and 1 audio tape of the interrogation of Ramzi bin al-Shibh have surfaced following the CIA's illegal destruction in 2005 of 92 video recordings of other detainees held in secret prisons. The AP reported the Ramzi bin al-Shibh recordings were found 3 years ago in a box under a desk at Langley. But the tapes they don't show bin al-Shibh, who's allegedly a key liaison between 9/11 hijackers and al-Qaeda's leadership, being tortured, just answering questions from intel officers in Morocco, where the Yemeni was confined. You can link over and read more on historycommons.org about all the alleged perpetrators, double and triple agent patsies involved in the false flag catalyzing catastrophic events of 9/11. Washington Post says these CIA tapes of 9/11 detainees' interrogation don't show torture. But let's grab a little bit of good news from world911truth.org, and the story does come from, again, the New York Daily News. In a breakthrough for first responders, Obama broke his silence on the Zadroga bill. Zadroga, Z-A-D-R-O-G-A. Last Wednesday, backed up the uphill drive to get this legislation through Congress. A statement from the White House said, quote, "The president looks forward to signing the 9/11 health bill into law once it passes both houses of Congress to help the first responders whose health and livelihood were devastated by the events of 9/11. Of course, being told that the air was safe to breathe didn't help things. And of course, with all the other disgusting Congress dodging national security directives, presidential decision directives, executive orders, signing statements, they can use those things to do the dastardly things that would never pass in the light of day, but somehow they just have to wait through the bipartisan wrangling when they should just take care of the people who were helping. 9/11 truth or not, and that's what shows the fraudulent, destroyed nature of our state and our military, civil servants. When you risk your neck, they still don't even take care of you. The other obamessiah updates posted at the bottom of this. Obamessiah Ground Zero Mosque is Bombshell Barack. Bombshell Barack Obama conclusively outed as CIA creation. Wayne Madsen has a series of articles called All in the Company of course being the Central Intelligence Agency. We've touched on this briefly, and again, perhaps we should do full-on work into this, but we've touched on this over the last couple of years now. And that would be the story of Obama and his intelligence connections, the lost years, the Brzezinski puppet strings, his involvement with a known CIA company, BIC, Business International Corporation. But what Wayne Madsen and this bombshell Barack article series, and fortunately on InfoWars, they put all 3 parts of the article on one page. It's all there handily. And again, like we always say, make sure to save your PDFs so nothing can go down the memory hole. This story further illuminates, if you will, the family connections going back through the moms and the stepmoms and the stepdads and the intelligence agencies and Suharto and Indonesia and CIA funding. It's all there. It's an intelligence operation. I'm not doing this justice, but we need to keep moving. Niall Gardner, writing for The Telegraph, notes the stunning decline of Obama. 10 key reasons why the Obama presidency is in meltdown. Out of touch. People don't have confidence in him. He fails to inspire. We're drowning in debt. His big government message is falling flat. His support for socialized health care is a huge political mistake. His handling of the Gulf spill was weak-kneed and indecisive. U.S. foreign policy is an embarrassing mess. He's muddled and confused on national security. And Obama doesn't believe in American greatness. Now, that's coming from the U.K. Now, we've noted that the Gulf oil spill is all taken care of, so of course our president can go for a swim in the Gulf. Trying to convince Americans that the Gulf of Mexico remains open for business. Perhaps he didn't want the world to catch another glimpse of his hairless chest, so when he and his daughter Sasha took a dip in the sea off Florida last weekend, only the White House photographer was allowed to capture the proceedings. The official picture was intended to provide evidence that the region's beaches are back to normal, yet it soon emerged that the private beach on which it was taken off Alligator Point in St. Andrews Bay, northwest Florida, isn't technically in the Gulf. More photo ops. It's all a charade. To wrap up this post, and again, this is all coming from the obamessiah Ground Zero mosque story that ties in our 9/11 and other obamessiah all in the company updates. We're going to close it out with the latest appearance of Webster Tarpley of tarpley.net on Russia Today, which is going to further expand all of this that swirls around that we're talking about and get more into Obama 2012, Petraeus, and a pullout.
U.S. Defense Secretary Robert Gates and the top military commander in Afghanistan, David Petraeus, seem to be at odds about troop withdrawal, which is actually scheduled for next year. Well, investigative journalist Webster Tarpley is here for more. Good to see you, Webster. So you have Robert Gates saying, look, there is no question in anybody's mind that they're going to start withdrawing troops in 2011, whereas you have General David Petraeus saying, hey, you know, when it comes time, I'm going to offer my military advice to Barack Obama, and this date may not even be realistic. So who's really in charge here?
Well, in this country, generally, it's the ruling elite centered in Wall Street that's in charge. The question of Afghanistan is now bound up with the presidential succession and the crisis of the Obama regime. If you look at this interview with Petraeus yesterday, Big David Gregory, Meet the Press special edition, it's clear that Petraeus regards the 2011 July deadline to begin the pullout as something which is flexible, it's open to discussion, it's going to be, as he says, determined by conditions on the ground. Now, even what Gates is talking about is the beginning of a token withdrawal. The guy who really needs the withdrawal is Obama, because his political crisis is now serious, right? We just had this flap about the tensions between Obama and his base. Governor Rendell of Pennsylvania, who is an experienced Democratic politician, former head of the Democratic National Committee, says that Obama will face a primary challenge over the war if things keep going the way they are. Now, this raises the question of the presidency. Petraeus, in that interview, seems to deny that he's running for president.
He didn't seem to deny it. He ruled out the possibility of running for president.
He was asked, will you run for president? The answer to that, of course, is no. I'm not going to run. Right. I'm waiting for a draft.